Greetings, friends. Welcome to practice today on this very much cooling autumn morning. You can absolutely feel the edges of that water element, and the winter season we're certainly starting to build as we move into the final month of autumn, according to the calendar at least. And let's take the brick, just a few moments over the brick to begin with. So bring it on its low profile, and we want to drop the upper body down over it. So easy does it. Just making sure the shoulder blades are drawn down, arms extended out to the sides of the body, and the back of the head easy to the floor. If it doesn't feel it's easy to the floor because of the chest, just bring a support underneath the back of the head. And you can just do what you like with the knees, with the legs. However, if you want to add a little bit of work towards front groins, knees, shins, widen the feet with the soles of the feet on the floor and the knees to the ceiling. So just walk the feet out towards the outer edge of the mat, and then nice and slow, drop the right knee down towards the top of the left foot. And that's going to give you a stretch up through that right thigh front, in through the front of the right groin. You might even feel it up towards the base of the ribs as it sort of draws that stomach channel, that earth channel up. Now, you can just hold it like so. You can deepen it by just walking the right foot across a little towards the right further until you've got that right kneecap in line with the right hip point. That's going to give you a little bit more depth. Just easy does it, and see how that feels. Should be no pulling or straining on the knee, but it's nice to feel something coming up through the thigh. Alternately, if you've got space, let's tuck the top of the right foot under so that the right toes reach up towards the right armpit. We've got a half or Ardha Virasana. So just if you're choosing this, let's just hold it for a few breaths. If you want to add a little bit more, we can walk the left foot over towards the right knee and just let the left knee drop out like the page of a book. Arms can go overhead, whichever position you're in. And then just see if you can take that beautiful pranic flow and bring it into the body wherever you feel tension, resistance, or tightness. Good. For those working the knees, let's lower the arms just as we readjust out. Sole of left foot to the floor first, and then unravel the right knee. Readjust in the lower back as needed. And then widen the feet, edges of the mat, knees to the ceiling. I like to hold my ankles, but it's not necessary. And just drop the left knee down towards the top of the right foot and just get that primary stretch. You'll feel there's this kind of beautiful opening of the wrapping of the waist on the left side, down through the thigh, up into the groin front. Deepen it potentially by taking the left foot a little bit further out to the left so that the left knee is in line with the point of the hip. See how that feels. Of course, these postures are deeply beneficial for the lower back, especially when we've got a lot of tightness and holding in the lower back. So just helping us to balance out front and back of body. If you want to go further, go that little bit further, tuck the top of the left foot towards the floor so that the left toes are pointing up towards the left armpit. again, giving time and organization for the body to really come to each variation of the pose so that you're mindful that you're not using force. And if you want to go all the way, walk the right foot over to the inner left knee and then drop the right knee out like the page of a book, potentially extending the arms overhead should the body feel that it could organize in that way without disrupting the breath. Which we keep long and steady. Try to relax what you can. Those in the Ardha Virasana, Supta Ardha Virasana. Supta is reclining. Ardha half. Virasana, the hero shape. Good. We'll start by lowering the arms. Sole of the right foot comes to the mat first, followed by the left. Readjust the lower back, so lift and lower the hips. Have the feet at about hip distance apart, hands down beside you. Drop your elbows into the floor and then lift chin to chest. Then use your forearms, your palms, and your elbows to just assist you up. We're going to come around and through into a traditional version of child's pose. So that means knees are at hip distance apart. As we just start our course into these winter channels, drop the torso down over the top of the thighs here. You've got your brick handy. You might need it to come in underneath the forehead. So just garnering whatever support you need for your back to open up into this shape. See if you can sweep the hands back behind you towards the knees and let there be a space of breath coming right into the back of the body now. So feel the skin stretch around the kidneys and the back of the lungs as you breathe, attention focused. As the belly bounces against the thighs and the breath moves into the dorsal body. Having the knees in this shape gives the spine a kind of a traction, hips holding it back down towards the heels of the feet and the head, weight of the head drawing it forward. So see if you can just, for a breath or two now, before we leave this shape, just relax the spine and let it be drawn. And then extending the arms forwards, looking forwards. Shift the body up into a tabletop position. Let's get the brick on its narrowest face and just bring it up into the middle of the thigh bones and clamp strongly around the bricks. You may need to adjust the knees slightly. Okay, with index fingers facing forwards, cat-cow, drop the belly, breathe in. Exhale, arch the spine. Clamping around that brick supports the back. Drop the belly, breathing in. Bend the elbows a little. See if you can catch that sticky mid-back. Exhale, arch. Okay, so we're all familiar with the cat-cow, so keep going using this little bent elbow variation on the inhale. Start to really feel, as you come to the exhalation, that you puff the breath out at the end of the round, draw the navel up and hold it all up for a breath or two, or for a count or two. Do with what's comfortable for you. Might be 5 counts, might be 3. Clamp around the brick with that exhalation. See if you can bring the sitting bones together so that as each time you pass through this exhalation, you're creating a really strong triple lock. So Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, and Jalandhara Bandha. So it's the Mahamudra, all three locks. Really waking the body up here. From the inside out, let's neutralize the spine. Go right on ahead and remove that brick. Place it over to the side for a moment. If you need to drop back to the buttocks for a second, in fact, let's do that. Just tuck your toes, roll the buttocks back and roll the wrists out. Yeah, especially if you have the tendency to have a little tightness in the wrists. Thumbs back, elbows forwards, open the chest, toes are tucked. Couple of deep breaths here. Draw the shoulder blades down. See if you can just lift the head straight off the heart. So we don't want to drop the skull back, but just feel a sense of continuity in the existing back bend of the spine. And then lower the hands back down. Let's come back to all fours. Toes are tucked. They remain so. Lift the knees about an inch off the floor. Now let's hold this, but bring a little bit the pubic bone towards the navel, the front ribs towards the belly button. Should feel the core of the body wrapping and switching on here. Pivot both heels towards the left and drop the left hip a little ways towards the floor. Doesn't touch the floor. Come back up to the center, knees still above the mat. Swivel both heels to the right and drop the right hip down. Now, we're going to go side to side here. So come on back up. And see if you can do your best to keep the chest towards the front of the room, to keep the shoulders towards the front of the room. Let's do one more each side. Through the center. Now, as hips drop to the left hand, pick the right hand up and extend the left leg forward in front of you. Come back to hovering all four. Drop the hips to the right. Bring the weight to the right hand. Extend the right leg forward in front of you. So it's that lower leg. Bring it all back. Side to side. Left hand, left leg. Swivel around. Right hand, right leg. One more each side. Takes a little bit of balance at the core here. Left hand, left leg. Swivel. Right hand, right leg. Nice. Come back to the center. Downward dog. That feels good on the shoulders. Few steady breaths. Take what's needed. Any problems in the lower back or hamstrings today, go right on and crack the knees or take the feet a little wider on the mat. And as you descend the Achilles heel, release the back of the skull. So drawing two ends of the dorsal body here. Deep breaths. Let's come forward into a plank position. And then either lower the body down to the floor, keeping a stiff body, or come down with me, knees first, and then drop the chest down between the thumbs, create that nice little inchworm shape, point the toes, wrap the tailbone down, and then inhale, bring yourself to laying flat. couple of rolling cobras before we sit. So bring the fingertips to the floor outside the mat. Actually, while we've got it, reach for your brick. Hopefully it's not too far away. Bring it on its narrow face between the thighs again and clamp it in nice and tight. That's going to really make you work the legs. Tailbone down, fingertips outside the mat, level with the shoulders, clamp the brick, pubic bone to navel. Inhale, press into the fingertips and lift the chest. It's not going to come high for the first few. Exhale, lower. Keep that work in the lower body. Inhale, lift. You might get a little bit more rise. Exhale, lower. Let's just move through a few of these. Your pace. As you work, pubic bone remains drawn towards the navel. So you're keeping the lower back long, letting the lift come from the flexibility of the spine as a whole. Firm the legs. Squeeze around that brick. Shoulder blades rolling down. Let's just do one more after the one that we're on. And release. Remove the brick with one hand. Keep it handy though. We're going to come back into that child's pose. So set up for cobra. More classic this time. Heel of the hand in line with the base of the ribs. Index finger facing forward. Shrug your shoulders and roll them down. I want you to feel the skin at the back of the neck lengthening. Bring the pubic bone towards the navel. Firm the thighs, the buttocks. And then inhale, lift. Now keep the elbows winging in here. Chest is broad. Pubic bone grounds. Inhale. Exhale, rocking it back to that classic version of the child's pose. Knees at hip distance apart, buttocks to the heels. Brick forward, should it be needed. Lower the forehead down, brick or floor. Hands back behind the feet. Let everything go. Long breath. Once again, come back to that place where you're relaxing the spine. Letting it be tensioned between the hips and the skull. And then let's slowly press ourselves up to kneeling here. And bringing in whatever you need to create a comfortable seat for you today. So you might like to elevate. I've got a little cushion that I sit on. Certainly nice to have some support underneath the buttock for extended sitting. Might want to have a blanket handy. Ensure that in a moment or two, the body temperature is going to drop. Whichever way you've come into this cross leg, let's go right on and switch it up. So bring the other leg in front. So as always, we like to challenge our habits in this class and just go as close as you can towards holding this. And then when you know that the time's come for you to change it over, just make your adjustments. Okay, so sore knees can be really actually helped in this pose. So you just grab the skin behind the knee and lift it up as you fold the leg in. And you find that you immediately create space in the back of the knee. So you can do that if you to both knees, or if you're just working with one knee that's a bit challenged, allows the knee to sort of rebalance in a nice sort of external rotation from the hip. Nice and healthy for the knees. From here, let's bring the pubic bone towards the navel. So just be very deliberate, but just before we begin and set up our gesture for the seat. Once you feel that, once you lift the pubic bone, you feel the descent of the sacrum behind you, and it creates a holding. Now bring the front ribs down a little until you feel the back of the ribs lift ever so slightly. And a slight traction again between what's happening in the sacrum and what's happening at the base of the rib cage, the back of the body. Let's sweep the arms up with an inhale, interlace the fingers to the webbing, and just invert the palms for a moment. Take the whole torso and move it back till you feel the weight come straight down through the sitting bones. To me, I feel an immediate switching on or firing up of the deep abdominals. When I lean forward, they're switched off. When I lean back, they're switched off. But when you get the action aligned, you'll find that deep core multifidi switches on. It's subtle. See if you can listen for it. So lift the back ribs here. Lift the back of the skull here. Keep the chin parallel to the floor. Lift a little the back of the skull. And from the roof of the mouth, the soft palate, reach up. And you can feel there's a little muscular effort here in the torso. So that's what we're looking for. Keep it engaged. Just release the interlace. Slowly bring the arms down, thumbs back, elbows forwards. Now see if you can just keep the whole of the torso unchanged as you make that rearrangement with the arms. Now thumbs back, spirals the forearm back, spirals the up arm bones back, sets the shoulder blades in a little towards one another and down the back. So that gesture here of openness through front of the lungs and support through the back. So see if you can keep that as you bring the elbows in to touch the side ribs so they start closing in. Then bring the back of the hands to the mid to upper thighs. See if you can bring the little finger side of the hand in to actually touch the sides of the body. Bring the thumb and first finger to touch. All right, check the front ribs. Check the pubic bone to navel. Check the soft palate. Check the alignment of the shoulders. Okay, we're going to start Ujjayi here. We're going to just hold this for a few rounds of breath. We will let it go and come to a softer posture, but let's just do a few rounds of breath here, Ujjayi, as we start to just bed this posture into our muscle memory, just so we know where to come back to when needed. So, slight closing off of the throat. Puff the breath out. Lower, middle, upper, take it in. Let's focus around the diaphragm here. Hold the breath full at the collarbone. And then slow, steady exhale. It's your time. I'll just keep talking. You just keep breathing in your own rhythm. Puff the breath out. Lower, middle, upper, take it in. Just that pause at the fullness. And once you puff the breath out, a pause at the bottom, the empty breath. Let the chin fall slightly towards Jalandhara Bandha if it hasn't already. Now really feel that breath focused around the diaphragm so that it's kind of that whole mid-torso diaphragmatic zone that's moving with the breath. It's almost as if the lower belly
stays a little flat here. And as you exhale the breath from the base of the sternum down towards the navel, feel the whole of the breath being rippled by the muscular body down into that little puff out that seals the pelvic floor. Okay, let's add a count. Work off your inhalation, just a few minutes of Sama Vritti, the square breath, the box breath, the balance breath. So whatever count is your inhalation, that's what you're working with. So maybe you're working it at a 6 and hold for the same count. Exhale for the same count. Puff it out. Hold the breath out for the same count. See how we go with this. Just a couple of minutes. Let's disappear into the breath. If you feel like you're really dragging that inhalation in and it's on the edge of panic, you drop your hold counts back to half. Focus to the diaphragm from the front to the sides to the back on inhale. The end of the next exhalation, slide the palms of the hands out to the edges of the knees. Slow, steady inhalation. Hold the breath. I always go slow, so we've got time to catch up. 3 breaths, 3 locks, sorry. We're going to move into the Kaphlabhakti. So short, sharp exhalations, bellows breath from the belly. Let's start with 30 rounds. Puff it out. Hold it out. Lower, middle, upper. Take a nice deep breath in. We're going to hold this breath. Come forwards as much as you can. Breath is held. Here, 2 locks. Slow, steady exhalation, stay low. Inhale, come to sitting. Natural breath, few rounds. Eyes remain closed. Focus remains internal. Just begin to, through your mind's eye, reset the physical posture of the body. So lift the pubic bone, lift the back ribs, bring the shoulders over the sitting bones so that you feel the torso align. Find the soft palate of the mouth and reach up. Take the palms of the hands facing downwards and out onto the knees, straight arms. Puff the breath out. Lower, middle, upper, take it in. Hold nice and full. Okay, let's go for 40 rounds this time. So from the belly, remember that we're coming from low in the body here. 40 rounds. It out. Hold it out. Lower, middle, upper, take it in. Hold the breath, 2 locks. Jalandhara Bandha, Mula Bandha, coming forward. Exhale, stay low. Inhale, come all the way up to sitting, natural breath. Just easy. Start to notice how the skin softens the more the eyes fall back. The auric field around us, like an aurora, a light field, begins to light up in the place where the skin boundary once sat. You feel this shimmering sheath that surrounds the skin. Front and back, left and right, above and below. And just take a climatic reading of this few inches of light. And the light here in the auric field is so dense that it's almost solid, but not quite. It's more dense than mist, but not quite in solid form. See if you can notice the colors that are ranging through it today, whatever they might be. One color or many. See if it's moving, if it's kind of mapping across the body, or if it's in a radiant pattern. It feels a little like it's rising or falling, or if it can be shifted around as you think about it. Just letting some of that skin boundary dissolve into the auric field. Notice the skin starts to tingle with the realization. And sliding the hands out to the edges of the knees. Palms down. Puff the breath out. Lower, middle, upper. Let's take it in. Hold the breath. This time we're going for 50 rounds. So we're starting to push it up a little higher. Go with what's comfortable. Let's begin. Puff it out. Hold it out. All three locks. Slow. Lower, middle, upper. Bring it in. Lock it down. 2 locks. We hold the breath. Coming forward.
Slow exhale. Inhale, come to sitting. Just natural breath. Arms as they are, comfortable. Just let the mind unfurl out a layer beyond the auric field and into the emotional field. And it's another light band. See if you can sense it. It's a little finer than the auric body, a little more towards that mist-like layer. Again, sense the quality of it this morning. Perhaps it feels like light ripples on the sand in a shallow ocean. Maybe it feels like a series of colors moving or just one color. See if you can have its energy turning clockwise slowly. Just see it and it happens. Sometimes it feels like, looks like bubbles in a lemonade. And this emotional layer, just notice anywhere where it's a little denser or tighter or resistant to your promptings or your inquiry. And just lean in a little there. As much as we hold joy and love, we also hold shame. The misgivings. Be allowing of yourself to have both shadow and light. Embrace it all. I'm going to do one final set to finish. So as you slide your hands out towards your knees, just getting ready to steady yourself for the practice, puff the breath out. Lower, middle, upper. Let's take it in. Hold the breath. We're going to head up for 60 rounds this time. If it's too much, just stop a little earlier where it feels comfortable for you. 60 rounds. Let's begin.
Hold it out. 3 locks. Inhale, lower, middle, upper. Two locks as you cap the breath. Drop forward. Slow exhalation. Inhale to sitting. Natural breath. As it is. And just notice how easily the attention moves out now into the mental layer, the one that sits beyond the emotional. And here it's finer still, like wisps of cloud. Just feel it unfold around you in all directions, 360 degrees. And again, take in its cloud-like nature. And see if you can have it spin in an anti-clockwise direction. And just allow this deep turning to calm the mind as all of the thoughts and the beliefs, the ones that accelerate us and the ones that limit us, are embraced, included, acknowledged, and owned. Just let them come into order, into a steady flow like a river. And then bring your attention to the 3 fields together. The mental field, wispy like clouds. The emotional field like a mist. And the auric field in close to the skin, maybe radiant. And just allow them all to merge into one another. To emerge in and through the skin body. And feel the heart at the beating center of it all. Allow yourself to take up the whole room. Now, as always, I do encourage you to sit and stay for as long as possible. If you do need to finish on time, let's begin by just bringing the palms of the hands to the heart, over the chest, just to steady and return us somewhat to the physical structure. And then rub the palms of the hands together. Let's get some heat between the palms. I'm going to place the palms over the eyes, over the face. Just notice the mandala that appears. Just gently let the closed eyes penetrate that. Might shift, might change. Let's bring the palms to prayer over the heart and bow the head. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.